Churches, don't worry, come. We want to pray. Pray that things are done right. Pray that the right people get in office to keep our country safe and keep it strong the way our founding fathers made it. And I went there, and I'm telling you, I was very gratified on how strong they were about keeping the religious freedom in our country for all religions and making it the most powerful country in the world. I have a flat tax program that will balance the federal budget instantaneously. Save Medicare, make sure that Medicaid insurance is there, pay on the national debt, get rid of all the federal taxes that we have in this country, including gasoline tax, make sure that we have everything taken care of for the people we need to take care of, and get rid of 2/3 of the IRS at the same time. To get a lot of these things done, you need leadership. I've provided leadership all my life. 31 years old, I was put in charge of a $65 million company, the finances of it, and I didn't have a degree in accounting. Prior to that, I was a cost accountant for the same company, and the owner asked me to come up and take over the finances. I've dealt with General Electric, Rolls-Royce, Rocketdyne, Bell Helicopter, United Aircraft of Canada. All of my fingers were used to get new orders into our government, into our company, so that we could exist. And it existed very strongly. And I'm very proud of that. I also was an auditor in the First National Bank in Chicago, and I currently own my own business. I build assisted care facilities. The last project I had was a $15 million project. Came in under budget, kept union and non-union people working together. When it was done, I turned over the keys to the owner, and I went on to my next project, which is running for the United States Senate. I look forward to serving the people. You know, we have to be responsible to the people. Not being responsible to people is wrong. I'm for term limits. We need to have term limits. And one other thing, we need to have term limits for the Supreme Court. Thank you very much. I'm Robert Zadek, and running for the United States Senate.
Thank you, Mr. Zadek. Up next will be Senator Lauzen.
Okay, now I know that we have just 3 to 5 minutes here, and if you don't mind, Greg, I'd like to find out where Lester is. Before I get started, where's Lester? Lester, would you speak out? Lester, where? Oh, there you are, Lester. You know, Lester, do you mind if I tell a story real quick? Lester asked me when Obama's going to be showing up. I don't think that's happening tonight. Then over here, Lester tells me a story I just wanted to share with you. Polar Bear comes walking into a bar. The bartender goes, "Well, how you doing, Mr. Polar Bear?" Polar Bear, "Well, just fine." He goes, "Well, why the long pause?" He goes, "I've had them all my life." Lester, you're a bad boy. Okay, I've got 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, now I'm going to start my own stopwatch here. What I asked the folks to pass out to you, I was hoping to, I believe that a picture is worth 1,000 words. We are very lucky to have microphones tonight. How hard the folks who organized this went through to just get the microphones, it was hard. I was going to try to get a screen. I made 50 copies of just some of the slides that I wanted to share with you in the 5 minutes, so I'm going to get right into it. The title of the presentation tonight, my name is Chris Lauzen. I serve the people who are in Kane County in the Illinois Senate for the last 18 years. The title of the material that I sent out was, "If I ran my business like you run the government, I'd be bankrupt." You know, interesting that the same thing happens in government, it's just that they don't admit it. So, The first, on page 2 of what I passed out, if you save one per family, the report card for the Illinois state government, jobs and economy, F. We're 47th out of 50 as far as the rate of job growth since 2003. Just last year alone, 220,000 jobs left the state of Illinois. So employers are leaving with their jobs. Frankly, seniors are leaving with their assets because of the policies of this state government. The budget, as you'll see on this report card, budget F. I guess that just today in the Chicago Sun-Times, Terry Savage had an article that some of you might have read that our state is $120 billion short. It is just absolutely a mess. I've been saying for more than the past year at national conferences when I present that the state is bankrupt. According to the U.S. Constitution, we can't declare bankruptcy. So every time we go farther into debt, it's a bigger problem that we're just going to have to pay in the long run. So if you would, for those who have the presentations, if you would turn to the third page, you'll see the pattern of the revenue in the state of Illinois. The blue line is the important one. The blue line in the last year or two has started to go down because of the recession. Yet you'll see that the red line of spending increased. There's no family, no business, no rational process where when revenue goes down, that spending can go up and you can sustain it. We are absolutely in horrible shape. If you go to page 4, the pension system is bankrupt under 2 definitions of bankruptcy. First of all, the liabilities exceed the assets. We have $78 billion in unfunded liabilities. We have $50 billion in assets. Under an income definition of bankruptcy, bankrupt. If we came to the taxpayers, which we need to do, November 2nd is coming, and you said, well, I can't pay back what's been used here, it would take over a 30-year period of time, $220 million per month just to pay back what's short on just the pensions. In the next slide on pages 5 and 6, it shows that under just reasonable assumptions, that if the state government continues to spend at the rate that they're spending, under one scenario, it's 80% of all the taxes we pay are just going to go to the public employee pension system. Disaster. Under even more reasonable, even more likely assumptions, it's 160% of our budget. So how did we get there? Number one, we promised way too much. Excessive benefits compared to the private sector. You flip over to page 8, just the top 100 already retired school administrators, the pension liability, what you need in the bank today to pay the present value of their future benefits is $687 million for just 100 people. 100 people, nearly $750 million. I mean, that's the story in a nutshell. I know that people aren't going to believe that. When I show that up on a slide, I put a slide which is page 9. If you look at that sheet, page 9, you can't even see those numbers. But I know people aren't going to believe me, so I want to put up all 100 of those people, the name and the number, and then you can check my arithmetic. And then finally, the cost of ignoring Albert Einstein's, and I only have 15 seconds left, but you folks know the power of compounding interest. If we want to save for a pension fund, whether it's the state government workers or whether it's Social Security, you've got to make the deposits 30 years earlier and make the deposits so that you can use the exponential curve of compounding interest. We have it within our grasp that we can still solve this problem, but it's going to take enormous political will. I'm happy to answer any of the questions that come up today. And that's about 15 seconds over. I'm very sorry.
Thank you, Senator Lauzen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one more candidate. As you all know, they say there's 2 guarantees in life, death and taxes. Well, if you live in the Chicagoland area, there's a third one, and that's you will spend most of it in traffic. So please forgive him, but running for the 16th Congressional District, George Belrow.
My apologies for being late here tonight. My name is George Belrath. I'm a 2-term mayor in Shreveport, Illinois. the census, we're hoping to say about 25,000. We have seen a lot of people leaving closer. Sure. George Delaware. That's okay. I'll put a sign in your yard when we're done. But I've been the mayor for 2 terms. I've been alderman for 8 terms. I'm very conservative. Since I've been in office, we've balanced our budget. We've had lower property taxes in Freeport the past 5 years through the levy. We did raise taxes 1% in sales tax in order to keep our services on the street. Last year, I froze my pay voluntarily, and as an elected official, you can't do that. So every pay period, basically, I'm writing a check back to the city of Freeport. This year, I took a 10% cut in pay, so each pay period I send back 10% to the city of Freeport. Our aldermen followed suit. They saw not only the way our state is, but our government is. Nationwide, we were about $900,000 we had cut out of our budget, which was a difficult thing to do. But leadership starts at the top. That's why I took pay freeze 1 year and 10% cut the second year. We are asking our unions. We are asking our unions to do the same thing. Our firefighters. Our firefighters stood up last year, and our firefighters took a pay freeze. This year, we asked them to take a cent back because they got that pay freeze back this year. May 1st, we asked them not to take it. They are on the verge of doing that, but their state organizer can't stop it. So what they'll do is they'll get their 3%, but they will freeze it for this year. Our police officers took a pay freeze this year, but not last year. Our street department workers, who just are a terrific bunch of men and women and fantastic workers, they took a pay freeze last year. They would not take a pay freeze this year. Their union told me to fire 4 people and let them have a 6% raise. And I said, no, I hired those men and women. I knew that they had families at home. They needed benefits in the check. So they took a 38-day layoff. We kept 4 or 5 people to keep their services on the street. But in order to get the 10% cut that we were looking for across the board, they took 38 days layoffs. Our city staff, our support staff, has taken furlough days. Our department heads have taken 7.5% decrease in wages. We are a team in Freeport. We have to work together. We realize the state of Illinois was short $900,000 to us last year, and we don't expect it this year. So in order to do things without raising taxes, we need to cuts. But I'm looking forward. I'm looking at our state legislators, our congressmen, and our senators. Where are their pay cuts? What have they done? When I came in office, I was amazed when I was in the private industry. I didn't make a lot of money. I made enough to survive with my wife and 4 children. But we had to pay about $550 a month for health care. When I came to be mayor, we weren't paying any of it. And I said, this is not the right way. Our employees now pay a fee every month. They also pay co-pays. We had to bump it up a little bit in order not to put the burden on the taxpayers. I am running as a Democrat, and probably look at me like you sound more like a Republican than you talk. I believe I'm a little bit of both. I have beliefs in both parties. I think both parties have strong things, and both parties have bad things. Our problem at the state level and at the Washington level, the national level, nobody's working together. We have to start working together. They need leadership in Washington that will stop this train and say, hey, before anybody gets off, let's make some changes and let's work together. The health care bill was an example. It got pushed through. And we all know it got pushed through from the party that's in power right now. There are some good things about the health care bill, but there are some terrible things about it also. My daughter, who's 18 years old, well, she was 18 now, she's 22, it goes up quick. She worked in the emergency room in the hospital.